Not all archaeological discoveries are the same. Some deserve our attention more than others, and those are the ones we keep our eyes on this channel. When we see one, we jot it down, add it to the vault, and then shape that list into an incredible video for your entertainment. Here's another batch of astonishing archaeological finds, and we hope you enjoy every second of it. Number 15. Algeria sips forgotten pyramids. On the highlands near Tiaret, Algeria, there are 13 ancient structures known as the Jeddars. These are massive tombs shaped with square bases and pyramid tops. Despite their scale and historical potential, they've received minimal archaeological attention. Most estimates date them between the 4th and 7th centuries CE, and while it's widely believed they housed Berber royalty, no confirmed identities have been uncovered. Inside, researchers have found Christian symbols and possible Latin or even Greek inscriptions, which only deepen the confusion. These aren't small local burials, they're royal-sized constructions on prominent hills, meant to be seen. But the lack of documentation combined with centuries of decay and neglect has left many questions unanswered. The mix of religious and linguistic markers suggests a cultural overlap that doesn't fully match what we know about the region's history during that period. Whether these were Christian Berber kings or a blend of Roman Berber influence is unclear. What is clear, though, is that these pyramids deserve far more attention than they've ever received. Number 14. Assyrian cuneiform tablets in Iran. Deciphering cuneiform tablets isn't easy, even for top experts. But the more samples we have, the easier the job becomes. That's what made a 2017 discovery in Kurdistan so important. Archaeologists working at the ruins of the ancient city of Basetki found a stash of 93 cuneiform tablets hidden in a ceramic vessel. The jar had been sealed in clay, suggesting someone went to great effort to protect the contents. Most of the texts were unfired, making them incredibly fragile and difficult to preserve. Dr. Bettina Feist, one of the first philologists to examine them, spotted a reference to a temple dedicated to the Assyrian healing goddess Gula, pointing to a likely religious context. Sadly, erosion has taken its toll. Despite being carefully hidden, the tablets are brittle, worn, and not fully translated. The contents remain largely unknown. Whatever these scribes were trying to preserve, they succeeded in hiding it, but time may have erased more than the archaeologists can recover from these ancient clay relics. Number 13. The ancient amulet of Mehrgar. At first glance, the corroded amulet found at Mehrgar, which is located in Pakistan, might seem unremarkable and unappealing, but under closer examination, it's anything but crap. Dated to nearly 6,000 years ago, this small ancient copper object is the earliest known example of the lost wax casting process, a metalworking technique still used in some places today. Scientists detected signs of the technique by analyzing the amulet's microstructure, which revealed that it was first shaped in wax encased in clay, baked until the wax melted out, and then filled with molten metal. When cooled, the clay mold was broken to release the final product. Achieving the high temperatures needed to melt copper during that period would have required advanced understanding of materials, tools, and heat control. That makes this more than just an accessory, it's a technological landmark. It shows that even in pre-Indus Valley times, people in this region had already developed intricate craftsmanship and production skills. The artifact itself is silent, but the method behind it speaks great volumes about the innovation of its creators. Number 12. World sips oldest wine in Georgia. For thousands of years, how many exactly is hard to say. Humans have been making wine, but we now know it's at least 8,000. That estimate comes from the 2017 find of what may be the world's oldest wine residue, preserved inside Neolithic ceramic jars found in Georgia. The vessels were excavated from 2 archaeological sites about 30 miles from Tbilisi. Before this, the oldest confirmed wine traces came from Iran's Zagros Mountains, dated to 7,500 years ago. Scientists identified tartaric acid, a compound left behind by fermented grapes, inside the Georgian jars. Interestingly, this region shares similar climate and soil conditions with iconic wine areas like Italy and France, suggesting ancient winemaking may have flourished here. These jars may represent the birthplace of wine, aligning with the Neolithic shift to settled agriculture. Then again, the practice may have already existed for centuries before this batch was sealed. Either way, the evidence firmly places Georgia among the earliest pioneers of winemaking in human history. Number 11. Steamboat Pulaski Watch. The steamboat Pulaski sank off the coast of North Carolina on June 14, 1838, after a boiler explosion tore it apart without warning. The vessel had been missing ever since, until it was found in 2018. Among the luxury items retrieved was something that stopped time quite literally, an 18-karat British gold watch, its hands frozen at 11:05, the moment the ship went down. Pulaski was carrying a wealthy group of people and cargo valued at $150,000 in 1838. That's about $4.5 million today. Blue Water Ventures International has recovered over 100 artifacts since identifying the site, but none hit harder than that broken timepiece. Originally destined for auction, the watch was sold in April 2020 for just over $15,000. It's water damaged, tarnished, and no longer ticks, but it holds a frozen second from a catastrophe that swallowed an entire ship. That single object says more than words ever could. It doesn't need repair, it's just good like this. Number DC. Tanzania sips unclaimed cave paintings. In 2018, cave paintings were discovered in Tanzania's Dodoma region that don't resemble any known local tradition. The artwork was found in a sheltered rock chamber and features a mix of familiar animals like giraffes, cattle, buffalo, and bizarre humanoid figures with exaggerated heads shown eating other figures. The indigenous Sandaway people who have lived in the area for millennia immediately disavowed the work. According to them, these paintings don't align with their ancestral styles, and no oral history exists to explain them. What makes that claim striking is that the Sandaway possess the oldest traceable human DNA on Earth, stretching back nearly 90,000 years. Despite multiple attempts, researchers haven't been able to date the artwork, so its age remains uncertain. What's clear is that whoever made it, it wasn't the current inhabitants. Until the pigments can be precisely dated, these paintings remain a visual riddle, one claimed by no culture, but carved forever into stone. Do you have any idea what they mean? Number 9. Toys and ancient graves of Turkey. Despite modern worries about kids and screens, children have always needed toys. In 2017, archaeologists in the ancient coastal region of Çanakkale, Turkey, uncovered two 000-year-old toys buried with children in their tombs. The graves date to the Roman or Hellenistic period and are located near the ancient port of Parion. In many cases, it appears these toys were either cherished belongings or made specifically to accompany the children into the afterlife. What stands out is the clear division between the types of toys buried with boys and girls, suggesting that gender roles were deeply ingrained even then. Girls' graves contained human figurines, possibly early versions of dolls. Boys were buried with miniature wagons and carts. Some of the items were finely detailed, far beyond what would be needed for simple play. Whether made as keepsakes or ceremonial offerings, they show that even in death, childhood was acknowledged and that love, grief, and play crossed the same cultural lines we still recognize today. Number 8. Egyptian obelisk fragment. In a country known for massive temples and towering statues, Egypt still manages to deliver surprises. In mid-2017, archaeologists at the Saqqara necropolis uncovered the largest known fragment of an ancient obelisk. The piece, made of red granite, is over 8 feet long, but it's believed the original monument was at least double that. Marks at the top suggest it may have once been coated in copper or possibly even gold, designed to reflect sunlight. Experts estimate it dates back roughly 4,300 years to Egypt's Old Kingdom era, possibly during the reign of Queen Ankh-Nespepi II. If so, the obelisk likely belonged to her mortuary complex. What's unclear is why it was moved or broken. Obelisks of that size weren't meant to be relocated, and breaking one wasn't easy. Whatever happened, this fragment is now a rare piece of ancient architecture tied directly to one of the few women to rule Egypt. Even in fragments, the craftsmanship and ambition behind it remain impossible to miss. What do you think about it? Number 7. Oldest footprints of pre-humans in Crete. In 2002, something strange was found in Crete, something that still has experts arguing. The find is a set of ancient footprints. The debate is whether they were made by early humans. If the answer is yes, it flips everything we thought we knew about human origins. A 2021 study backed the claim, dating the prints to over 6 million years ago. That would make them older than the famous Lucy prints in Tanzania by 2.5 million years. It also suggests early humans may have first walked upright not in Africa but in the Mediterranean. The most likely candidate behind the prints is Grayculpithecus freybergi, a possible human ancestor that once roamed this region. Scientists are still divided. Some back the theory, others reject it outright. But the prints are real, and they're not going anywhere. The controversy just proves how little we truly know about our earliest steps. This single find doesn't rewrite the book, but it rips out a few pages. Number 6. Sarcophagus in Alexandria. In December 2019, a construction crew working in Alexandria, Egypt, stumbled upon a sealed black sarcophagus buried 16 feet underground. The find took place in the city Geber district while workers from the Supreme Council of Antiquities were preparing to build new offices. The sarcophagus, carved from heavy black granite, is believed to be roughly 2,000 years old, dating back to Egypt's Ptolemaic period. Nearby, a heavily eroded stone bust was also recovered, possibly depicting the individual buried within, though time and damage have left the identity uncertain. Given the size and weight of the coffin, nearly 15 tons, experts believe it once belonged to someone of high social status, perhaps a noble or a military leader. Some have even speculated about a connection to Alexander the Great, though no clear evidence supports that. The coffin remains sealed, and full excavation is expected to take years. Until then, the mystery inside stays untouched, hidden beneath the layers of a city that still guards its ancient secrets. Number 5. Wari beer culture. Yes, the Wari sacrificed people, but historians no longer believe they were especially violent. In fact, some argue that the Wari period brought a 500-year-long era of peace to Peru, and according to a 2019 study at Cerro Baul, the foundation of that peace might have been beer. Researchers found that brewing and sharing a spicy pepperberry-based drink called chicha was central to Wari life. Massive communal festivals were regularly held, with colorful goblets carved to resemble war leaders and deities. This wasn't casual drinking, it was tradition, diplomacy, and social glue. When the people finally abandoned Cerro Baul, they didn't leave the brewery behind. They burned it and buried it under layers of sand, almost as if to seal it off forever. That final act shows how sacred the space had become. The beer may not have tasted anything like ours today, but it clearly meant something deeper. For the Wari, unity didn't come from conquest, it came from a shared drink raised high among the crowd. Alright, now let's head over to number 4. Ancient skis in Norway. In July 2021, Norwegian archaeologists recovered a wooden ski that had been frozen in the Didgervarden ice patch for 1,300 years. It wasn't the first. The matching ski was found nearby in 2014, but together they form the oldest intact pair of skis ever discovered. Made from the same wood and likely crafted at the same time, both skis still have their original leather foot bindings secured with wooden plugs. The newer ski even shows signs of repairs, suggesting its owner had kept it in use for a long time. Why the pair was abandoned remains unknown. They weren't damaged, they weren't lost, and they were clearly valuable. Back then, this mountainous region was ideal for reindeer hunting, so it's likely the skis were used for that purpose. The ice did a remarkable job preserving them, not just as relics, but as functional gear once essential to survival. Now they've become part of history, speaking for a world where snow wasn't sport, it was life. Number 3. Medieval iron oven in Slovakia. Iron was a precious commodity in 10th century Slovakia. So when archaeologists found a medieval stone oven filled with it in the village of Bodna in 2017, they knew it was a rare glimpse into the economy of that era. Inside the oven were 36 pieces of hrivna, iron bars once used as currency, along with horse harness fittings, keys, and assorted metal tools. Whoever owned these items likely intended to melt them down or trade them, but they never returned. Bodna officially dates to the 15th century, but hill forts in the area suggest the region had strategic importance as early as the 9th century during the reign of the Great Moravian Empire. These forts later fell to Hungarian invaders in the early 10th century, which may explain why the oven and its valuable contents were abandoned. It's a frozen moment from a turbulent chapter in Slovakian history when war, trade, and survival collided in a single forgotten furnace buried beneath the village. Number 2. Roman makeup case. When archaeologists opened a Roman-era grave in Merida, Spain in early 2020, they came across what looked like a scallop shell. But it was a first-century cosmetic case, still packed with pigment. Inside the shell was a compacted pink-brown powder. After months of analysis, X-ray diffraction, chromatography, and electron microscopy, it was confirmed to be Roman makeup. The formula included granite lacquer, rose madder for color, and a fixative compound to help it stick to the skin. The scallop wasn't chosen for symbolism, it was simply the right shape, practical and visually appealing. Merida, once the capital of Lusitania, is rich with Roman remains, but this cosmetic kit feels unusually personal. It even echoes further back to ancient Sumerian customs, where mollusk shells were used to store cosmetics as far back as 4,500 years ago. This wasn't just makeup, it was identity, ritual, maybe even status. And while the owner's name is lost, the soft pink tint she once wore still survives inside a simple shell. Number 1. Pylos Combat Agate. It's barely an inch long, yet the Pylos Combat Agate is a masterpiece of Bronze Age artistry. This Greek seal stone dates back over 3,500 years and was found inside the Griffin warrior tomb, not far from the palace of Nestor. Despite its size, the stone features an astonishingly detailed battle scene, one warrior driving his blade into an enemy while standing over another lifeless body. The level of craftsmanship is nearly microscopic, so fine that many believe the artist must have used magnification, but no magnifying tools from this era have ever been recovered. That's what makes it so puzzling. Art this intricate didn't appear again until 1,000 years later, in the classical period. Either the Minoan or Mycenaean artist behind it possessed impossibly steady hands, or were missing an entire chapter in the history of ancient optics. Whatever the case, this small object rewrites what we thought was possible in the ancient world, and it does it with the tip of a blade. If you found this video interesting, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for hanging with us, and we'll see you soon in the next one.